now. I'll just have anxiety about it. It's fine. Yo, I'm digging this like oversized tee, Target price, my elbows don't even show type of like vibe. Give me some comfy shorts and an oversized t-shirt and like I'm living my best life. Hey guys, welcome back to my channel. My name is Kanessa Carey, and if you are new here, welcome. If this is like another time that you're visiting my channel, thank you for coming back. I appreciate it so much. Today I have a new cool fun video for you. I'm gonna start this video off with a little disclaimer just to say, one, I'm not a therapist. Do I have a degree in psychology? Yes, I do. Basically, what I'm saying is I'm not a therapist, so if these things don't work for you, or you don't think that they will work for you, or you don't agree, like, I'm just gonna tell you what has worked for me, what I have learned. So take what I say with as many little grains of salt as you wish. In this video today, I'm going to talk about 6 things I learned in my 6 years of therapy. Yes, you heard that correctly. I went to therapy for about 6 years. I think it was 6 years. It may have been longer. I tried to do the math the other day, but it was just hurting my brain. I'm not in school anymore, so I don't do math anymore. So I just want to clarify, I didn't only learn 6 things in my 6 years of therapy. That would have just been a waste of money and time and emotions. I learned so many things in therapy, and literally so many of those things I incorporate into my daily life. So if you would like me to share more, I would love to, but these are just 6 main things that I just wanted to talk about today that impact my life pretty much every single day and that I absolutely love. So anyways, let's just get right into it. Number 1. So the first thing that I wanted to talk about, and one of the things I learned in therapy, was your feelings are valid. And I cannot stress that enough. Your feelings are valid, your feelings are valid, your feelings are valid. Whatever you're feeling any moment of the day, for whatever reason, whatever emotions, feelings, things that are building up, things that are lingering, things that you just like all of a sudden feel, things that you've never felt, things that you don't like to feel, things that you love to feel, anything you are feeling is valid. Our feelings are valid because we feel them. We don't need any more reason to validate our feelings other than the fact that we feel them. And I think a lot of times, especially when you're like younger, you learn that feelings are either like good or bad. And one thing I learned in therapy is that all feelings are just feelings. I honestly still struggle with this sometimes because sometimes I naturally invalidate how I'm feeling. So for example, I might have like chatter going on in my head of like, ugh, like I shouldn't be feeling like this. I'm so dramatic. People are gonna think that I'm being dramatic. People are gonna think that I'm not telling the truth. People will think I'm over exaggerating. People will think I'm so annoying. But those are kind of the thoughts that I sometimes associate with my feelings. So one of the things I learned in therapy is it's okay to have feelings, but it's also totally normal and valid to have those types of thoughts. So here are some techniques that I learned to rebuttal these unhelpful statements. Thought: people are gonna think I'm so dramatic. Rebuttal: Kanessa, you're not being dramatic. Blank happened. Fill in the blank with whatever happened. It is completely valid for you to feel that way about something because you cared about it. And it's completely valid to feel that because you are the one who experienced it. So of course you would feel that way, and of course it's okay to feel that way. So that's just like one of the rebuttals that I can give. And I know I made that sound like really sarcastic. A lot of things I try to put humor in just because that's my personality and it works for me. That's just like one thing that you can do is like have a rebuttal statement or phrase or sentence. But whatever you are feeling is completely valid, and it's okay to validate yourself. So today, right in this moment, I give you unconditional permission to experience all of your feelings and emotions, no matter what they look like, no matter what they feel like, and no matter what they are. The second thing that I learned in therapy, this was a very like overarching theme in all of my years of therapy, especially like the first few years, because when I walked into therapy, I was a hardcore perfectionist. And something that I learned out of that is that not everything that I experience and not everything that I think is black and white. Seeing everything in like black and white terms is a very, very perfectionistic tendency, and one that I struggled with so much. Honestly, I still sometimes struggle with it. So black and white thinking leaves out the gray portion in between that, and there's a lot of shades of gray. It's also sometimes referred to as like all or nothing thinking. Here are some examples of black and white thinking. If it's not perfect, then it's not good enough. One of the things that I do to challenge my perfectionism and black and white thinking is reframing my thinking to challenge black and white thoughts. So if I had a black and white thought, for example, if I don't do well on this test, then I'm never going to do well on any test again. To reframe reframe my thinking, I can ask myself a question. Is it more accurate to think or say, I may not be as well prepared for this test as I would like to be, and I may not feel as confident, and I may not do as well. But that doesn't mean I won't be better prepared for the next test or do well on the next test. That's just an example. I feel like it's something that people can pertain to. Also, one thing I try to stay away from is words such as never and every. Those words in black and white thinking just aren't very helpful. So if you're like, I'm never gonna do well at this, or this happens every single time, using words like never and every are not helpful, and they're actually called absolute words. I just try to stay away from absolute words, and if I catch myself using an absolute word, I just try to rephrase it and reframe the thought. So hopefully that was helpful. That was black and white perfectionist thinking. Number 3, emotions are useful tools. And this is so important. I've literally said that all of these are so important so far, but that's why I'm making this video, because these are all important. Instead of viewing emotions as good or bad, positive or negative, that kind of stuff where you're kind of like labeling emotions, we can view emotions more as tools, things that help us recognize why we're feeling those things that help us figure out like what we care about and what we're passionate about. Emotions are tools to help us understand ourselves. On top of that, emotions and feelings guide us. Emotions and feelings help us understand the world around us and how it's affecting us. So if we're just constantly like, oh, I'm feeling angry, let me just stuff that down into my little, t-shirt pocket, and like, oh, I'm feeling sad, let me just stuff that into my t-shirt pocket. I don't have a t-shirt pocket, but that was a weird analogy, but I'm just gonna keep rolling with it. I'm feeling anxious, I'm feeling overwhelmed, I'm feeling uncomfy, and we just stuff all those things down. If we don't take moments out of our lives to assess like why we're experiencing emotions, how are we supposed to know what to do with them? You know what I mean? Emotions are also pretty freaking cool because they can motivate us to take action. So for example, if you never had any feelings or emotions about wanting to do well in something, like say it was a sport, a test, passing your driver's license, making really good cookies, I don't know, whatever you want to do well, if you're not motivated by emotions to accomplish those things and follow through with those things, then like you're not going to take action because you're not feeling any emotions, and you're just going to be like, I don't really feel motivated to do it. If you really want to do well on a test, you're going to be motivated to study for the test. Also, emotions are freaking cool because they help us relate to other people and help other people relate to us. There's so much more than what I just described that they can help us do, but that's what I'm going to stop there because we need to move on to number 4. So this one, I give all the credit to my therapist because she drilled this into my little tiny brain, let me tell you. But it's so profound, and I literally probably say it to myself at least once a day, if not more. But the statement is, if it happens, I will deal with it then. So let me just give you a little bit of background about this specific statement. So this phrase stemmed a lot from our work together in anxiety and OCD. Basically, any type of like recurring thought, anxiety-provoking thoughts that I had, doubts, unwanted thoughts, negative thoughts, just like thoughts that cause like distress, I would respond by saying, well, if it happens, I'll deal with it then. So let me give you an OCD example because that's like the only thing I can really think of in this scenario. So if I had the thought like, oh, if I don't do this, then X, Y, and Z will happen. So I could be super, super, super scared of X, Y, and Z, whatever that is. Instead of giving into the compulsion and the obsession, then I could be like, well, if it happens, I'll deal with it then. And I just sit with my anxiety, and I'm like, yep, cool anxiety, like, thanks for coming. Love you, like you, but not really. Like, you can go whenever, the door is right there. So just responding with that statement of like, okay, well, if it happens, I'll deal with it then, because worrying about it and stressing about it and having anxiety about it right now is not going to help me live my best life. So sometimes it's a really easy statement for me to believe, and then other times I'm like, okay, we're going to have to say that a few thousand times today, but it's fine. So if you're ever having negative thoughts or things that you're like worried will happen, be like, hey, you know what? If it happens, I'll deal with it then, okay? Okay. Moving on to the 5th thing I learned in therapy. When I first tried it with my therapist, I was like, girl, this is a little weird. But this 5th thing that I learned in therapy is called a grounding technique. There are many different types of grounding techniques, but this is just one that I really love and that I found super duper helpful, and something that I can just do anywhere, anytime, even if I'm around people, even if I'm busy, even if I'm just like sitting on the toilet. This is something that I can do. That might have been TMI, but this technique is called a grounding technique. It's the 5-4-3-2-1 method, or 5-4-3-2-1 technique. I don't know. Whatever. And it has to do with your 5 senses. So this is how it works. The first thing you're gonna do is you're gonna notice 5 things that you can see. And then you're gonna find or notice 4 things that you can feel. And then you're gonna list 3 things you can hear. So in the environment around you, what are 3 things you can hear? Just sit and listen for a second. And then you're gonna list 2 things that you can smell, okay? I just cooked brownies, so that smells good. And then 1 thing you can taste. If you wanna only focus on touch, if you only want to focus on sight, like, you can do that. Find what works for you. You don't have to do the 5 4 3 2 1 technique. This is just an example of a grounding technique. You can do it however you want. I usually try to do it this way just so that I'm hitting all 5 of my senses. So 2 reasons why I use it and why I love it so much is it helps me be more aware of what I'm experiencing, and then the second reason, it just helps me be more present in the moment. So moving on to the last one, number 6, is that self-care is so important. And no, I'm not talking about the type of self-care where you're like spending loads of money, you're getting like all this bougie stuff done, you're sitting in the bath with a bath bomb and a face mask and, you know, a towel wrapped around your head with some freaking cucumbers on your eyelids. No, this is not the type of self-care I'm talking about. If that's what you love to do, girl, go for it. Like, do what makes you happy, what makes you feel good. I know everyone and their mom preaches about self-care, but like, I'm serious. Like, self-care is so important, and I didn't realize that until really far into my therapy experience. And the minute I started incorporating self-care is the second I really started to take care of myself and nurture myself and realize how important it is for me to practice consistent self-care. For me, I try to practice some form of self-care every single day, and it's rarely like extensive or expensive or time consuming. It can be as simple as like going to bed early, eating a meal, exercising, having a dance party in the comfort of your own home. So the bottom line of this whole self-care thing is to just simply do something that helps you feel good. I would challenge you to do something every single day. Just find something that you can do for 5 minutes, even if it's the freaking grounding technique I just told you about. That is a form of self-care because you're taking care of yourself. So I hope you guys enjoyed these 6 things that I learned from 6 years of therapy. If you want me to list another however many things that I learned, then comment down below, just let me know. But I hope this was helpful. If you found any techniques that were helpful, like, implement them and let me know how it goes. Yeah, so thank you guys so much for watching. See you next time. Bye. I never know how to end these videos, and so it's just like